Welcome to today's podcast, friends, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Donna, and I am a board-certified psychiatric and family nurse practitioner. Welcome to the Brighten Up podcast, where we pull up the shades and shine the light on mental health topics both affecting and improving the lives of families. It has been said that having a place to go as a home, having someone to love as a family, and having both is a blessing, as well as a family is a unit composed of not only children, but of men, women, an occasional animal, and don't forget the common cold. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and in celebration of that, we'll be discussing the impact that family, honesty, humility, and a positive outlook has on mental health. We have two very special guests today that are all about family, and it's my pleasure to introduce Mike and Jill Donnelly from the famous YouTube channel, It's the Donnellys. It's the Donnellys is an American YouTube channel known for their family vlog videos, which began in May of 2015. It's all about siblings Brennan, Katie, and Ryan, along with mom, Jill, and dad, Mike. They love to laugh, play, travel, and share their lives through family videos, vlogs, all while highlighting real life and real fun. Mike and Jill's story began 25 years ago when they met while working at Walt Disney World. They have since welcomed 3 beautiful children into the world. Mike runs his own customer service company, while Jill is the creative force behind It's the Donnellys and a professional flight attendant. Brennan, Katie, and Ryan are siblings and best of friends. Brennan is a sports fanatic, grew up playing water polo, and takes his big brother responsibility very seriously. Katie and Brennan both go to the same college and work together. Katie is a gymnast, pole vaulter, and a cheerleader, and is now a featured acrobat in her university circus. Ryan is a senior in high school, can be found hanging at the beach with friends or on the golf course during his free time. He is enjoying his only child status at the moment and ready to take on the world after graduation. The family's wildly successful YouTube channel does not shy away from life's ups and downs and is on a mission to promote raising happy families. Welcome, Jill and Mike. It's great to be with you both today. So happy you're here.
Thank you. Good morning, Donna. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Donna.
I will be completely honest. I am most definitely starstruck, especially after watching your videos on YouTube. You and your family are just so likable, talented, and relatable. And you don't really try to hide those waves that we all face in life. You seem to learn how to kind of surf out those waves. None of us can stop them, but you guys are great with, just kind of plowing through and having fun and incorporating laughter. So it's fabulous.
Thank you.
As you know about my podcast, the Brighten Up podcast also strives to empower families to live their best lives. And we do this by inviting guests and featuring topics to promote this. So I think having you both here to talk about what's involved in keeping a positive outlook with raising a family and raising a happy family. You both are two of the most perfect people I could think of to be here to discuss this. So
you didn't see us this morning.
Well, it's we don't need to know everything, but I'm going to say, from what I can tell. Yes, exactly.
We had a great morning.
Exactly. So, Mike, can you share with us a little bit about your family and the dynamics and how your family got started as social media influencers and what prompted you to begin a YouTube channel?
Sure. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so part of the intro when we did the YouTube Mother's Day episode was talking about how Jill is the core of the family. So she got the whole thing started, so she's best to explain how the whole thing got rolling.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Volley to me. Cool. So, it started in 2015, and the kids were fairly young. I think Katie might have been 7, and Brennan was 9, and Ryan would have been, 6, something like that. And we had friends of the family who had a YouTube channel, and we really didn't know what that was, but it looked like they were having a lot of fun. And Kate was a gymnast, so we started filming her gymnastics and putting it on YouTube. And then 2 weeks later, literally 2 weeks after we put the first video up of Katie's gymnastics, we went on a vacation to Florida to visit my parents. And we're like, oh, well, let's just vlog. So the gymnastics videos were more like a gymnastics meet, just putting that up. But the vlog was more like, hey, this is a video blog is what a vlog is, right? Let's just video what we're doing on this vacation. So Kate took the camera, and she and Ryan and Brennan went for a walk around my parents' house and down, the lane, and then did some gymnastics on the trees. And anyway, turned it into a family vlog. The next day we went to Disney World, we vlogged that, we put it up, and that was the end of it. It went from sort of like Katie's gymnastics videos to a family vlog in 2 weeks, and it was so much fun. They loved filming, we loved filming. I will also say that for our wedding, we received a high 8 video camera way back in the day, 1997, right? So
Yes.
This was not digital. This was very much tape, right?
Right.
And we used that thing all the time. And so when the kids were really young, we would film them, but we'd have these little pieces of video, and we put it in. They called it the BKR show, Brennan, Katie, Ryan. Oh, Mom, let's watch the BKR show, because they love watching themselves on TV when they were little. So we would put the show on, and there was just funny things that would happen, but it was never really edited into a story. And it was just a bunch of clips. Well, this YouTube allowed us to take videos of our family and funny things and fun things that we did and memories that we had, and edit it into specific episodes that we could then watch. So that has been such an amazing collection of our life that is an ancillary benefit of being on YouTube. So it's been really fun.
Absolutely. It's like an archive of special milestones and moments. And
the everyday, too. The humdrum every day. Right? We're driving to gymnastics, or we're watching a water polo game, whatever. Yeah.
And really to think about having that recorded, how that's going to benefit your children and their families someday, and on and on. I mean, the legacy of how things have changed. And I mean, I think it's just fantastic. Yeah. It's the ultimate. Really?
It's been a blessing, a total blessing. That was nothing we ever thought. I mean, we didn't come out of college or work thinking, oh, this is what we're going to do. It just sort of fell in our laps. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Just meant to be. Meant to be. Absolutely. So, Mike, what values are important to your family, and how do you uphold them?
That's a really great question. I think they just kind of come naturally to us. Early on, with the kids, I realized that one time I got home from a trip, and Brennan had been writing on a wall in our house, and I was really angry at the fact that he was writing on the walls of the house, thinking that he should know better. As I kind of reflected on that, I thought, well, I don't think I've ever told Brennan not to write on the walls of our house. And I realized, well, I have to set the expectations on what the behaviors are that are going to be acceptable here. I did that early on, and it was something that just kind of came up naturally, and we ended up with a list of 10 things that we do, and we tried to set the expectation early, and then we held the kids accountable to what the expectations were.
So basically, most kids will rise to the occasion if they understand what the expectations are. And it's easy to fall into that trap, I think, as a parent when you're busy and working and have lots of commitments. Like, yeah, I never actually outlined that. You write on paper, why not write on the walls? Or, I can remember an instance of my daughter, feeding her dinner, Lindsay, when she was about 4 years old. And she tilted her head down, and all of her hair, all this globs of hair just fell right on her plate. And she had cut her own hair. Like another instance.
Oh, shoot.
You don't
you
really...
forgot to tell her not to cut her hair.
Exactly. Can you share with us, our listeners, just a little bit about what this outline or what these kind of rules looked like and what they were?
Yeah, so the first rule is we do not write on the walls of our house. So that's very basic, and the rule's really very remedial, but they set the expectation of what we're looking for. So just a quick example is we always say goodnight, sweet dreams, I love you before we go to bed. So that's an expectation of however crazy the day was. Regardless of how angry we are or how tired we are, we always say that. So it's those kind of behavioral expectations that we're after. Yeah.
And that's great training for life, too. Just that unconditional love and support of a family that no matter what, you're still going to say goodnight and something that they'll carry forward that gets ingrained.
The behaviors that we talk about, not only the list of 10, and there's more beyond that, respect, humility, empathy, honesty, those types of things. We find it very beneficial to not just talk about it, but to show it. First of all, we try to model that behavior as much as we can, but also to show it. And I'll give you an example, like humility. That's one of Mike's big sticking points is humility. And I totally agree with him in that we would be watching TV with the kids. Like, let's say we would watch a football game, right, on TV. And after the football player made a touchdown, he would spike the ball and dance around and point at the audience. And we would say, is that good behavior? We'd say that to kids, is that good behavior? And they learned that, no, that's not good behavior. That is not the way that we respond when something good goes well. And then we would watch golf and we'd say, okay, look at that person. That person just hit a golf ball and it went into the cup, and then they just nod to the audience, pick it up, and walk away. So we talk a lot about and we show a lot about behavior. We use TV a lot for this. But like there would be a show, let's say on TV, and it was a kid's show, and there was a kid throwing a temper tantrum. Okay, so let's talk about that. This child on TV wants a lollipop. Mom's not buying her lollipop. They're on the floor screaming and crying. Is that good behavior? Okay, what could we do instead of that? How could we behave instead of that? So showing your children examples, and not only modeling the behavior, but also being able to have them physically see examples of what is right in our eyes and what is wrong in our eyes, I think really help them along the way understand what is expected. And then they start to see and recognize out in society behaviors that are not necessarily the way that they want to act.
They can see that contrast there.
And they make that determination in their head. It's not just blasé going through life, oh, well, this kid did that, and I can do whatever I want, No, that's not how we roll.
It's understanding the why. And
yes.
I think that's what really helps a lot of kids gel, if they feel that those kind of positive values and rules to help them gel, if they understand the why. And
this is how we're going to all get along.
Then they learn what they live, like I said.
And then when they go to school and they have the behaviors that we've taught at home, the teachers respond well. And then when we go to sports and they have the behaviors that we've taught at home, they're coachable kids. It goes throughout all aspects of life. It all starts at the home.
Right. And it builds really like the foundation for their life and how they'll be as in communities and in when they have their own families. And it's definitely a positive domino effect.
Yes.
So as we all know, having kids, there's often periods of conflict, whether that might be arguments between kids or, parents ready to pull their hair out. How do you navigate that in the Donnelly family? How do you deal with an upset maybe at school or an insult, between the kids? Or
you want to take that one?
Well, it's funny. So I tend to be the enforcer, disciplinarian. I'm more about accountability for behaviors. Jill is more of the loving, embrace side. So I think we play off each other pretty well. So there's the spectrum of caring and loving and enforcer. I shouldn't say enforcer. It sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
But I don't cut this kid slack when the behavior doesn't live up to our standards.
I'd say. Right. And Mike is definitely more of a cut and dry, and I will sit down and have a conversation. And again, one is not better than the other. Like, they understand. I mean, Mike could say, okay, that's not acceptable. Last night, for example, we had a messy kitchen, a very messy kitchen, because right after Mass, we came home, made a bunch of breakfast, and then went to the beach, and the kitchen was a mess. And when we got home, Mike's ordering everybody, Ryan made breakfast, so Brennan and Katie, you need to clean up breakfast, and, sort of telling the things. And I, sat down, okay, I'm like chit-chatting with them while they're cleaning. Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Okay. So, just sort of like, taking the edge off, because, sometimes we forget to say, please clean this. Like, I always ask for, cooperation. Sometimes Mike forgets to ask for cooperation, but it's okay. We roll back off of each other.
Yeah.
And
I think you complement each other.
Yes.
And I think that.
Because I could be a pushover if it was just me. And Mike they could all move out if it was just Mike.
Yes, I can relate. I mean, I think in our family, my husband seems to be a little bit more of the, the empathetic listener. I tend to be more of the drill sergeant,
right.
But the two of us
Donna.
together, complement each other. And I think it's good for kids to see two different perspectives. And I think it's a lot of how you were raised, too.
100%.
I mean, we bring so much with us into our own families of, some of our own traditions were. And
it's so nice to, I say nice, I mean, it's more than nice to be able to have two parents raising a family. And my heart goes out to those families that are single parents. They have that burden on their shoulders of being all those things. And that's a difficult road to go down,
Yes,
when you're
yes.
that one person and you're making all those decisions by yourself. So we're very blessed. I think a strong marriage is if you can have one, is the best way to raise a family.
Absolutely. I mean, it's somebody there to kind of pick up the slack that has the same investment,
Yes.
in your kids. And can't always be that way, but, I mean, families and support systems are different for everybody. Sometimes
Yes.
grandparents step in or aunts or uncles. But, having that strong pillar of people that love you and support you, and certainly having a marriage,
Yes.
is irreplaceable, I think,
Yes.
for kids. So not always easy. Marriage can be like a roller coaster. You have great years and other years that maybe are a little more challenging. And I think carving out time to spend together and
that's a whole nother podcast. We'll come back on and talk about our marriage.
You're like, that's why we're still married,
Yes, right.
I'll find that with my husband sometimes. Like, we'll be out and we'll be joking around with, people we don't know or aren't in the medical field. And, it's just refreshing. Like, takes us back to, some of those more carefree days.
Yes.
It's a grind raising kids. And
and it's a full-time job.
It is. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you have to worry and stuff. There's a lot of worrying going on sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, yes. And I don't think you ever stop worrying. I mean, I can see myself being like 80 years old, being,
Oh, yeah.
Still-
My mom still worries. I know she does. Your mom
Absolutely.
still worries.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't matter. So how do you, Jill, you're so full of life and charismatic and you love to laugh. And as I was saying before the podcast, you are somebody that lifts people higher. You just have this great energy. What are some activities and rituals you've incorporated into your family that you all enjoy doing together?
That's a great question. I am a firm believer in making things fun. I always like to take something that, like, let's say, I don't know, we're cleaning up the house because it's time for, we're going to have guests or whatever, or it's Saturday morning, we have to clean. And Mike's this way too. And that's, I think, why we gel so well together is we always try to take the mundane and make it fun. So, for example, Mike started this tradition with the kids. I don't even know when. It's been going on forever. It's probably ever since they could start running. So whenever we come out, like if we come out of church, we come out of the grocery store, we come out of a restaurant, wherever we come out of that house, it's time to go to the car, right? So all of a sudden, Mike takes off and runs, and then the whole family runs, and we realize the first person to touch the car wins. And that has been going on forever and ever 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 and ever. And that's just a thing that we do. And as a matter of fact, the policeman at Mass now watches to see
Oh my
who
gosh.
wins. And we'll
awesome.
shout out, "Oh, you lost again." So Mike used to always win when the kids were little. He didn't give me any slack, and now he hardly wins. But yesterday, Brennan juked out Ryan at the at Trader Joe's. It was very funny.
Yes, he did.
Very funny, and won that one. It was very good. But so running to the car is something. I mean, one of the things we play euchre a lot. Euchre is a card game, and Mike played it growing up. I guess I don't know if your family. I guess your family played it. But the problem is we have 5 in our family, and only 4 can play euchre. So we rotate through or whatever. But we always have cards with us, no matter where we go. We can always break into a game of euchre. When we're waiting in lines anywhere, we'll play like heads up, those kinds of games. So it's always about making things fun. We have a ritual, everyone claps, and that's one of our rules, one of our 10 rules, is we celebrate each other. And that's a non-negotiable in our family, is we are positive with each other. We don't talk poorly about each other. I mean, we're human beings, yes. Katie might say something about Brennan, but I'll talk her through that. Okay, well, why are you saying that? Well, have you told Brennan that? Like, let's not sit and talk behind his back. Like, let's have a conversation about it. And we do not allow. And that comes, I mean, I had a strong upbringing as well with, you know, 2 loving parents who didn't allow the brothers and sisters to fight. We just don't. There's 5 of us and we're still best friends. Like we love to be with each other, and it pains me for those families who, you know, have tension in their family, don't want to be together, but we're very intentional about what we do. So bringing back to answer your question, you know, we have this thing called Everyone Claps. And so, you know, Ryan comes home, oh yeah, I don't know, I got an A on my accounting exam. Yay, everybody claps, everybody claps. Everybody, Katie, clap, clap, clap. All right, everybody claps. You know, so it's about celebrating each other's wins and being there for each other when there's down times. But
when you think about that, though, we wanted everyone to clap because at one point we were celebrating something Brennan did, and Katie and Ryan were not clapping because they were a little jealous, right? So we forced people. Everyone has to clap. So that was intentionally to show that we could celebrate and not be jealous of somebody when we're celebrating them. So, yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to say, just real quick, and we can go on and on about different things that we do, but it sounds so cliche, but gathering around the table is my most favorite thing. And I think it's every single time we gather around the table, our family becomes stronger. You can think about like the day-to-day in the house, right? So you wake up, let's say it's summertime, right? And there's not school, right? You wake up and one person gets up and they go to work out, and then another person gets up and they want to go to the store, and another person gets up there, go hang out with their friends. You know, they're scattered, and the house really sometimes for some families ends up being just the place where everybody sleeps at night. And we're not a hotel. We're not a hotel. We're a family, and we have a house, and we intentionally live in this house together as a family, right? Not anymore. Now everybody's scattering, but so those times around the table, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner, whether it's playing cards, whether it's having a conversation, whether it's, hey, you guys, let's plan. We've got a lot of things coming up in June. Let's sit down with our calendars and look at this. That brings everybody together, and there's no phones, and it's just time for us to really be present with each other. And I, you know, Mike and I have talked about this. It's getting very expensive to go out to dinner these days. It really is getting very expensive.
Yes.
So we choose when we do that. But when we do that, when we make that investment in, let's say, taking the kids out to dinner and going out as a family, there is never a dinner we've gone out to that we don't remember. It's always, remember the time we were at, because there's always a story that comes up, or something we learn new about somebody else, or something we celebrate, or we have like these heartfelt conversations about how happy we are. Like, it's just that gathering out around the table has been something that's, you know, it's traditional. It's what was supposed to happen forever.
Yeah.
Exactly. And being intentional about doing that, it has been a part of our success as a family, 100%.
I can absolutely see that. Just setting that expectation that we all come together. We really, you know, shut down all electronics and just really have that connection and restore and kind of fill those cups. Mm-hmm. It's difficult. I mean, I think we're really in a transitional phase as parents where we're pivoting to really meet those dilemmas of kids just very distracted and on the social media and running, where, you know, sports have taken a different level. They used to be Monday through Friday. Now they're 7 days a week, and all the huge commitment that entails. And more important than ever to have that immediate family bonding time. And you're a Disney couple, so I'll share with you, you know, my husband loves Disney, and we're part of the Disney Vacation Club. Yay! We have been for years. And we still are, and it's another great reason to have moved to Florida, because now we're just a drive away. But for our family, that really is our time of just reconnecting, and it might only be 2 or 3 times a year, but really some of the most memorable that the kids will forever bring up.
I totally relate to that. And that is like, it's about sequestering your family. And people say, oh, you guys go on vacation all the time. You go a lot. Well, it's about sequestering the family and taking them away. We could be camping. We could be at Disney. We could be on a cruise. But intentional family time is so important. And you know that. Yeah. Yeah.
Even getting to know about your kids' lives and their friends, where we had the landline and somebody would call and you'd have a gatekeeper. Hi, Mr. Donnelly.
Yes.
Can I please speak with Katie? You know, and now you just really have no idea. We
That's
all
really
could be
true.
living, we're all kind of in our own lanes day in and day out. So that's remarkable. And I think that shines through on your YouTube channel, is just that close connection between yourselves and your children. And
I think that oftentimes we do just go through life and just, this is what we do and this is what we do. And then we go over here and then we do that without being a conscious liver. Like I talk about living a conscious life. And that is, well, wait a minute. Well, why are we doing this? Do we have to do it that way? For example, growing up, and I know I might be going off on a tangent here. I'm sorry, but I think this is really important.
This is a great...
So when the kids were in their, let's say, middle school, high school phases, right? Every weekend, it was, Mom, can I sleep over here? Can I sleep over there? And we've got 3 kids now, 2 nights, Friday night, Saturday night, each one of them saying, can I sleep at, Sam's house tonight? And can I sleep at Molly's house tonight? Can I sleep at Colin's house tonight? So potentially, if we had said yes to every one of those questions, we would have had 3 kids sleeping over at 3 different places, 2 nights on the weekends. There's no family time there whatsoever. I did not have kids, so I can't see you. We had children, so we could be a family, right? So, and I think that oftentimes, well, Mom, everybody else is allowed to sleep over. Okay, that's all well and good. But you know what? Saturday nights are nights that we're not sleeping over. So everybody's going to be here on Saturday night. So if you have a sleepover invitation on a Friday, then let's talk about it. Everybody, okay, good. Go out on Friday. Everybody's back on Saturday, and we're going to do something. We're going to have pizza. We're going to watch a movie. We don't have to do all these crazy things, but we will be together as a family, or we'll play a game, whatever. So very intentional about their time. I don't want it to sound controlling. It's not controlling. It's intentional. Looking back, I think that our kids, at the time they maybe whined a little bit. Well, I want to sleep over at Hoochie Cooch's house, but they are best friends with each other, and they will always have each other. They will always be best friends with each other, and I think that was important. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Intentionality, not going through life, just
unconsciously.
I mean, there's
everything.
Right.
What they're eating, who they're hanging out with, what they're doing with their time, how they're spending time doing homework, how they're responding to people, all of it. Us too. We've got to live consciously.
Absolutely, and it can be difficult because we are too pulled in so many different directions. So many parents, with jobs and other family commitments and helping parents and things like that. It's almost like we all need to have a weighted blanket and spend 10 minutes a day.
Yes.
With a weighted blanket and just writing down your goals. I think I love weighted blankets. I mean, they're fantastic for that reason. Just you need to create your short list for the day and not just 2 minutes before, but planning ahead a little bit has tremendous benefit for sure. How do you, Mike, assign family members roles as far as maintaining household chores and upkeep? In our home, we have a dog, and the novelty wore off probably a year or so later. And he'll be 7, and he's the cutest thing. And I'll say, hey, can somebody walk the dog? And sometimes it's a hostage negotiation, to figure it out. But it's, but we work through it, and this is the family responsibility. And
Yeah. And part of the family too, right? The dog's part of the family.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So I would not have you see Ryan's room right now. Ryan's room is a disaster. It looks like a tornado went through Ryan's room. So I think that in certain cases I let things slide. Like I let his room slide just because I just kind of pick my battles with him because I don't want to be all over his case all the time, which I feel like sometimes I do. So if you're one of those folks that are trying to hold your kids accountable, I would say choose the battles that are most important to you. So in his room, I let him slide, and, he's got clothes everywhere and the such. But like out in the family room, you have to be accountable to taking care of your stuff. So I try to hold the kids accountable to what needs to be done at the time, and then I try to spread out the job responsibilities as fairly as I can. So
everybody does their own laundry and has for a long time. That was a Mike thing.
Yeah.
So when they went to college, some of them, like Brennan and Katie, were some of their only friends that knew how to do their own laundry. Isn't that crazy?
It is. I've heard that as well from my son. He had a girl that put a Tide Pod in the dryer.
Oh, gosh.
freshman year.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Whoops.
Yeah. You've gotta, you want to empower them to know how to live. But I like what you're saying, Mike, about picking your battles, because it's easy sometimes just to kind of get into that lane of just calling them out on everything, and that's no fun. But holding them to a standard of how to function in real adult life and learning about that. You can't be at work and go into a workroom and leave your, not clean up your stuff or be considerate of other people.
One other thing, I try to notice the small things that he does that I've asked him to do, and I try to notice those and kind of put them in my pocket. And when I'm asking him to do something, I try to notice what he's done in the future or in the past. So I'm trying to think
To
of
celebrate
an
him.
example.
Yeah, sure. So
Catch him doing something right.
Yeah.
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 To let him know that I noticed the behavior, but I'm trying to. I can't
Oh,
think
you
of
filled the car with gas. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Or absolutely. I saw that you cleaned up after you made the cookies. Like, he's a big we're talking specifically about Ryan because he's the only one left in the house anymore.
Right.
But Ryan loves making chocolate chip cookies, and he's very good at it. And in the past, sometimes he'll just leave his stuff around. But you come home and you're like, oh wow, the house looks clean. Thank you very much. I come home from a trip and the house is clean. You're like, hey Ryan, we noticed. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw you folded your laundry. Good job.
Right.
Yeah. So he tends to do his laundry, but then he'll take it upstairs where his room is and pour it on the coffee table and leave it there. So the next step, and then that's a dresser for him.
That positive reinforcement. Yes. Yeah. I totally get that. And you do. I mean, I've had to do that really with our older daughter, is just not go in there with a flashlight. Like, how clean is your room? Like, I'm never going to be happy with the answer.
Yeah.
I think it will probably, click.
Yes.
Once you go to college and you have roommates and you understand, the importance of clean clothes and sheets and whatnot. So, but then so many other things that she does well and, has grown in. So one of my favorite times really, in sync with cleanliness is every 2 weeks we get our house cleaned. And that is a massive reset for me.
Yeah,
I am just in such a state of zen because it forces you to change the sheets, to organize everything, put everything back where it goes. And they usually finish about 2:00 every other Wednesday, and then the kids are home at 3:00. But for that hour, and my husband will get home that night and just be like, it's like we're back on Leave It to Cleaver.
Yes.
And I'll
Welcome
say,
home, Ramsey.
I am not going to let this house go to muck again. I'm going to keep it like this. And now here, 5 days later, I'm counting the days until they come back. And now I'm... But it's okay. I think I would take a rich, full life over, a immaculate home for sure. Jill, can you share with us just, maybe a exceptionally special family memory or vacation that you think was pivotal in your raising of kids or as a family?
Yeah, wow. Well, so one thing about our family, and Mike and I specifically, is we do what we call vacation ahead, which means when we're on a vacation or traveling, before we finish, we always have to have another one to look forward to. So we do travel quite a bit. And we do like to go on cruises. Well, Disney World is one of our favorite places that we like to go. As you said, it just is this... It holds these special memories, and it will never be a place for us that is not special. It's always special. We had... There's one that, they all stick out. I could tell you about our RV trip out through the West was absolutely amazing. We laughed and cried, and Ryan threw up, and it was all good. We had a great time there. We took a cruise vacation to Europe, which was so fun for our family to experience, other countries like that together. But this one that I'm going to tell you about, and I don't even know that it'll even translate well when I'm telling you it. We were at Walt Disney World, and Ryan and I are very big fans of French food. And so we said, okay, can we please, we'll have, dinner in France tonight at Epcot. And so we sat at this round table, kind of in the middle of the whole restaurant. And we were probably there for, I'm going to say, probably 3.5 hours, because we can just chat up. We just and have fun and laugh. Finally, the waiter comes over to us. We were laughing about this funny story. Mike, I don't know if I should get into it. It's very funny about Ryan. Earlier in the day, Ryan had met this girl who was like a fan, like she knew him. It was like, oh, okay, great, nice to meet you. Well, later on,
I was trying to help him.
So we're at dinner.
Be more of a ladies
Fast
man.
forward, we're at dinner, and Mike says, "Hey, so what about that girl you met? She was kind of cute, and what do you think?" Like, and Ryan
I was
goes,
offering him some nice advice.
Ryan goes, "Yeah. I mean, she was nice," and he goes,
chivalry.
Yes, he
Thank
said.
you.
Mike said, he said, "Did you give her your LinkedIn?" We all looked at each other like, what are you talking about? And Mike's like, so you can like connect with her later. I'm like, Mike, LinkedIn? Like LinkedIn? So Ryan started laughing and he like pretended to shake her hand like, hi, I'm Ryan. Would you like to trade LinkedIn? It was hysterical because Mike was clearly like trying to do the right thing, but completely out of touch. And like, it would have been like Snap. Did you give her your Snap?
Her
But I don't even know that
Snapchat or
you would know that
Instagram
one.
or
Yes.
something.
And this was a few
that's
years
really
back. So
cute.
it was
Silly.
very funny. Anyway, that's just when we were laughing so hard. And so not only our server, but other servers came over to us like throughout the evening, and they were like, you guys just are like, you're having a great time. You're like the best family. Like, what's going on? I'm like, it's just what we do. We just have so much fun together. We have the same sense of humor among us. We can laugh and joke, and we can poke fun at each other. We can poke fun at ourselves. It's really fun. So again, I talked before about gathering around the table. When we go on cruises, our favorite time of the day is at dinner when we can just sit around the table and laugh. During the days, we're mostly together, but sometimes, Brennan's playing basketball with Ryan and Katie's laying out and I don't know, reading or working out, whatever. But at the end of the day when we get to the table. So I would say that dinners, wherever we are, whether we're around a picnic table in Wyoming, whether we are on a cruise, whether we're at Walt Disney World, dinners are special things that we look forward to. Those are the pivotal things that where we sort of like, it's like landing in Sorry on that little round thing and you can go forward 4 spaces. Like we just really advance our
Your relationships
and our family
Right.
during those times. Yeah.
It's like really welcomes a lot of depth and richness in
Yes.
conversations and bonding. I'm curious because I love Disney as well. Tell me about how you two met in Disney, because I mean you really you embody so much of what Disney is and that tradition in your family. I mean, Walt Disney was all about bringing families together and creating memories, and I think it's just so cool that you met there. So tell me about that, Mike. What that was like, how you got there, and
well, what year was it, Jilly? It was
1995.
it was 95.
No, it was before that. 92.
I
we
was
met
working in food and
93.
beverage at Dixie Landings. Dixie, back in the day it was called Port and Dixie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the current Port Orleans Riverside. Used to be called Dixieland.
Yes.
Okay,
And I was the
okay.
restaurant manager at the Cotton Co-op, and I was working breakfast there one morning, and I saw this delightful family laughing and having a good time. And I noticed this girl in the booth who was very cute, and I walked over and said hello and asked everybody how their breakfast was and all that stuff. Very nice. Then they went away. And the next morning, I had new hires coming into the restaurant, and she was in costume, and she had just had breakfast the day before, and then she was one of my employees. So
I wanted to take my family there to
gosh.
eat before I'm like, this is where I'm going to be starting to work tomorrow.
yeah. So
wow.
yeah, so we were working together for just a few weeks, and I realized that she was really cute in her costume.
Oh, yes, I can see that. Oh, but that is so just meant to be. I mean, what a neat
And we
story.
flirted and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to transfer out because we weren't allowed to date if he was my manager. So I transferred out of that department into guest relations.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and worked the rest of my career at guest relations in the Magic Kingdom.
How many years were you there total working at?
I was there 3. Mike was there 10.
Almost 10, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My sister as well did an internship in college. She was part of like the marketing when the Wilderness Lodge opened.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
So
Yes.
yeah, so I used to come visit. We probably passed
We
each
probably
other.
did.
It was
We
all
probably
around
did.
the same
Maybe
time.
I gave you a tour.
Yeah,
maybe I served you.
I know. I remember being at that pool at the Wilderness Lodge, and she was like, she was lifeguarding there and on the side in addition to the marketing, but she had the same 3-year-old, like the parents just were not paying attention, that jumped in the pool like 3 times.
yeah.
And she's like, I have saved this same 3-year-old.
Bunch of times. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And then they had those little boats there that you can go on that. I don't think they still have them. They were like little individual motor boats for one or two people. Yeah, really, really neat stuff.
That's a special property. They all are. But
I know.
Nice.
I know. So now here we are in intermission, maybe, I guess, of life, with where we are with having those more years behind us of raising kids, obviously, than we have ahead of us. So how do you see your relationship with your children changing, or what types of values or lessons do you think will kind of shape the Donnellys moving forward as the kids are getting older and growing up?
That's a great question because it's happening actually as we speak, like right now. So for the summer, we are all split up. So Katie's spending her summer in Maryland, Ryan's spending his summer here in Florida, and Brennan is spending his summer at college in Tallahassee. So this is the first time that everybody has sort of been scattered, sort of not an omen or just things to come, right? So eventually we are not all going to live in the same town. We're not all going to live in the same house anymore. So, so Mother's Day, and it was very important to me that everybody be here. So Brennan flew in, Katie flew in, Ryan's here, and then we'll all disperse. And then as Brian's graduation, everybody's going to be there. So I think the expectation is that we still, first of all, being a flight attendant makes it easy. I can fly people left and right, and that was part of my plan, right? So to be able to, no matter where anybody is, we can always still get together as a family or go visit people, visit as a family. So I think moving forward, we've set the expectation early that family is important. And family is our foundation. So we always still celebrate those things. So we'll always get together for Christmas. We're always going to get together for Easter. We're always going to get together for birthdays and that type of thing as much as we can. Eventually, there are going to be people added to our family, which is a whole new blessing in itself. And hopefully, I'm sure that this is going to happen. It's going to make more love, not separate us. That's what's happened with both of our families, our extended families, my brothers and sisters and Mike's brothers and sisters. When people are added to the family, they're welcomed, and it makes it stronger and better and bigger. It is our intention that happens with us. You don't ever want a new person out of the family to splinter the family. So that's my fear, but I don't believe that will happen. So moving forward, that's I'm a mom. I'm supposed to worry, right?
I know.
That's why we're. But no, I don't believe that's.
You don't want to catastrophize. I can do
not
that myself.
Not at all. Not at all. And I probably shouldn't even bring that up. But it's a reality of like sort of the next step. Like we've had, Mama Bird, and I've had all these little babies in our nest and with my little feathers around them. And now, they go and they fly, and it's just so fun to see them fly. So I never really cried like when Brennan went to kindergarten. I didn't cry when they graduated, anything like that. I did cry, I think, when I left them at college. But it's just so fun to see them go do their own thing and be their own people and then come back and tell us all about it. That's really what I want them to do.
And the vibe is different. I think the vibe is different now that they're a little older. So it's more of an adult conversation, right? So your vibe is, it's very interactive. And I think for me, it's more fulfilling just to be able to have a nice conversation, an adult conversation with your kids.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. I love to see their zest and their excitement about life, that fresh blood, of just ready to go out and pursue whatever they're interested in and make the world a better place. It's incredibly rewarding. And, the younger years are cute as well, but you're basically on watch to keep them alive. So they don't jump into pools.
That's right.
Exactly. Again and again.
And we do know, as we're kind of entering these waters, with older children, reconnecting as a couple in your marriage and getting back to having more time together. How have you worked on that, Mike? I mean, what do you do to still wow this beautiful woman here?
That's sure. Well, I definitely married up, that's for sure. So that's one secret. So So she's very independent. She's extremely creative, and she's always upbeat. And so that makes being a husband a lot easier. So with her new career, this whole flight attendant thing has brought all kinds of new learnings. So she's learning and growing, which is wonderful. In my job, I am able to learn and grow with my clients. So that comes naturally for me as part of my work. And Jill being able to learn and grow in her new position, I think, and taking her to different places and harvesting really cool experiences and then bringing them back to where we can talk about them and learn from them and experience them has really been great. So,
and I think we're looking forward to some, I say free time. We'll never have free time. I think we're just always busy, but free time to be able to travel together. And that's part of my plan as well. And becoming a flight attendant was like, okay, so Mike's going to San Juan with me, later in the month because I have an overnight in San Juan. I'll be there for a long time. I don't know, 18 hours or something. So I'm going to fly him on our aircraft down to San Juan and just to be able to do a little trip and just go explore and, go visit the kids where they are and go visit friends. And so we're really looking forward to sort of that. Yeah.
Right. That's definitely a
travel.
perk. Like you can drop into a city,
Yes.
For an overnight, meet somebody for dinner.
Yes. Absolutely. Go to a concert, do whatever. Yeah.
And just really helps to just maintain relationships and create new memories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is on the horizon for It's the Donnellys? Tell me what are projects you're working on in the future? Where do you see this wildly successful YouTube channel in, we'll say, 3 years, 6 years? Not, what?
Thank you.
It could just go on and on as your
going.
family grows
Just
and different
keeps going.
jobs and
Yeah, it sure could because it's just about life and life as long as life keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How many years ago we wrapped just some rubber bands around a watermelon? And the watermelon blew up, and
So did the video.
I thought that was pretty good. That was
Yes.
it just kind of happened. So as we move forward, we just kind of take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I don't put too much pressure on I have to do this, I have to do that. But I appreciate your question. I think it's more, we would love to do a podcast. This is sort of our first podcast, right? We would love to do a podcast and talk more about family and relationships and funny stories and just have a conversation with our family. We call it our family, Fammelly, and that's sort of our followers. And continue with the YouTube channel and share more of like sort of flight attendant stuff and our travels together. Mm-hmm. And then, as how we navigate being empty nesters and people want to see and we want to share. Brennan graduating from college, he would like to go to law school. Katie then graduating and what she does. So I anticipate it'll be different in that it's not the family always together all the time like it has been, but we're still the parents of these children and we're still quote unquote children, and we're still a family and life goes on. And I think a lot of the people who have been watching us for a long time, the core of them are, let's say, Katie and Brennan's age, right? So do they really want to see these empty nesters doing this thing? But as it turns out, the comments we get and the relationships we've built with them is it sounds like they do. It sounds like, we're sort of a second family to them and just, sort of like how we navigate through life and just all the different things that go on. So, yeah, our intent is to hopefully keep trying to promote happy families and make people happy. I really just want people who watch, I want them to get a good feeling, maybe learn a little something. I learn from them all the time. I don't want to say that it goes one way. It goes both ways. We learn from our viewers all the time. We read all the comments. We learn things that they've done, ways that remedy for poison ivy, like all kinds of stuff. It's just daily happenings, and we learn from them too. So that relationship that we've built with them. We also have the platform is called Patreon, but it's our fam club. Mm-hmm. So we have people who have joined our fam club, and we do once a month back and forth conversations with them. So like they can ask us questions, sort of like behind the scenes kind of stuff. So we'll continue with our fam club as well. And we have some merchandise ideas as well. The shop isn't as big of a part of what we do. It sort of just supports, but there's some ideas out there. And I have a clothing rental company too that I've embarked on. Right. So that's fun. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff. And you're like, oh my goodness. You keep a lot of cups spinning at once, but it's just all fun stuff. Yeah. So fashion and sort of like 50s fashion. Like I'm not 1950s, but like I'm a 50 something, and what are we doing as these empty nester 50-year-old women?
I know.
What are we wearing? What are we thinking about?
We're keeping it trendy and classy, and
yes,
for sure.
Yes,
and Youthful.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And trying to get rid of wrinkles and stay regular, It's just is what it is, right?
Yes. Exactly.
So it's all about being real. It's all about being real.
Right.
So.
And that's what really, I think, resonates and really the vibe that is very, very palpable when you watch It's the Donnellys. I mean, I think back to our first conversation, Jill, when we first met, and you said, within the first 5 minutes when you were talking about your YouTube channel and your family, is your heart and your mission is to be a good example, to encourage others to live happily and have happy families. Just
and
such
choose
a,
happy.
such a passion and choose happy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's all up to you. I don't even think we've said it during this whole conversation. We said it in the beginning, but you guys, our mantra is the difference between an ordeal and an adventure is your attitude. And that's really, we could do, again, a whole nother podcast on that and about how, there are ups and downs, and you have downs, and the way you look. Just recently, Katie's car got stolen. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
And that was quite,
did she find it?
The police found it, and you'll have to watch the video. I'm not going to say it on this podcast.
Don't give it away. Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was in a shape that you can't even imagine. That is something way beyond anything like that we dabble in. But anyway, when that happened, Kate was she called me, and she wasn't crying, but she was really upset and this and that. And I'm like, Kate, listen, you have a circle of concern and a circle of control. And I learned that from Mike. He taught me that. And why worry about the things you can't control? All you can control is what you can do about it. So we're going to call the police. We're going to call the insurance company. We're going to wait. In the meantime, we might rent a car. In the meantime, you might have to get a ride somewhere. It's all good. It is. As long as you're not injured, or, your health is still okay and you're safe. Okay. Your car got stolen. Okay. And so that's the kind of thing that let's turn it into an adventure. It could be an ordeal, and we could cry, and we could get mad at the person, and we could think about all the crazy things that are going to happen, and now this and now that. If it comes back and it's totaled, okay. Or we could just say, okay, this is an adventure. Whatever life is going to throw at us, whatever God throws at us, we can handle it.
Right.
We can handle it.
Absolutely.
To expect that that's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing's
insurmountable at all, especially when you have family and faith and confidence.
A little more faith and fear, and that could cut through so much turmoil. I don't think a lot of people would ever need a therapist if we kind of had that.
Donna, we
mantra.
need to talk about that. Oh my gosh, yes.
Just worry about what you can control and act on that, and then just have that. Put the rest in a bubble. For the best, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's lots of, future topics to really discuss in the future with Jill and Mike Donnelly. So I hope that you listeners will check them out. We will have a link to all of their social media tags and YouTube channel, as well as their Patreon site if you wanted to subscribe and become part of their family, and check out their Positive Living merchandise. So we will
we'll put our 10 rules up somewhere too. We'll
post that up.
Yeah.
Post that up.
I think that would be a good. Would you mind reading them?
I wouldn't mind at all.
Okay. I think that would be a good
Fantastic.
Quick
ending.
wrap up.
Okay.
So the first one is we never write on the walls of our house, remember?
Yeah.
So we had to state that up front. We always eat and drink seated at the counter, right? When we're finished, we put our plates in the sink. Number 3 is we always say goodnight, sweet dreams, I love you before we go to bed. That's still in effect.
And keep in mind, these were all made when they were very little. But it all still in effect.
In
high chairs. Yeah.
Yes.
We do not whine when we do not whine to get what we want. We ask politely. If we're crying, we're in our rooms.
You can't sit in the living room and just cry.
We clean up after ourselves, and when we're done playing. Number 6 is we respect our house and our furniture. We try our best not to break things. Number 7 is everyone claps. We talked about that one. Number 8 is we always say please and thank you. Number 9 is we try to use proper tone in our voice, even when we're mad at each other. And number 10 is we do what mommy and daddy ask us to do when they ask us to do it.
Perfect. And so many pearls of wisdom there to carry throughout life. It's kind of like you learn everything we need to learn in life, how to play nice in the sandbox, how to be accountable, how to be happy for others' successes. So many important pearls of wisdom in those rules that really are applicable to any age. So
yeah, thanks, Donna.
Super cool. You guys are so neat. So happy
Thank
to have met
you.
you and have
Oh.
you here today.
Thanks for
And-
having us. This is such a pleasure.
Loved it.
I feel an honor to speak with
Yes.
Thanks, Donna.
you. Bye. Thanks, Donna. Bye-bye.
Thanks everybody for tuning in today. And until next time, remember to live on the brighter side of life, like the sunflower who chooses to face the sun.